Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all doing well. So today I'll be discussing Ketu transit in the sign of Virgo and its impact on all ascendants. Rahu and Ketu transit in a sign for 18 months, so it will transit from around November of 2023 to around April-May of 2025. Okay, so yes, it is one of the major transits, so definitely it will have an impact. So let's discuss that today. For Rahu transit, I've already made that video. Okay, I'll put up the link somewhere here. Okay, so let's begin. Before we talk about each ascendant, a few things to remember. People running Rahu or Ketu Dasha will have more impact comparatively. Your natal placement and dignity of Rahu and Ketu is also important. Your age shall also matter, like when we talk about Rahu and Ketu, if you are in your 40s or late 30s also, but 40s, then things will be a little better for you. Rahu and Ketu are shadow planets, and your ascendant and moon sign and the relationship with it shall also make a little difference. Okay, and understand Rahu will create obsession, fear, stress, greed, illusion, deception, insatiable desire about those things. And Ketu, on the other hand, will create dissatisfaction, suppression, ignorance, or confusion about those things where they transit. Both are karmic planets and both are malefics. So keep this in mind. Okay. Ketu is going to move from air sign Libra, representing balance, peace, harmony, and relationships, to earthy sign Virgo, representing healing, growth, practicality, criticism, responsibility, and service. Ketu creates ignorance, overconfidence, separation, dissatisfaction, and confusion. While this is actually a good transit considering Virgo as an original sixth sign of Kalpurush Kundali, so basically detached from problems, enemies, or diseases. In Libra, it was about disappointment from relations specific to that house, finding it difficult to be at peace about that house, difficulty in creating balance with respect to that house. Well, any peace talks between Ukraine and Russia didn't succeed. Ketu in Libra. Now, Ketu will be in Virgo. Both represents sharpness. So first of all, if this is happening in your second house, be careful of your speech. Like you can be so sharp at criticizing something that person might feel you don't have a heart. This is extremely important for people with mental health issues as they can be dangerously self-critical as well. So if you have someone like that around at your home, be extra kind to them. Those in the fields of healing, especially alternative medicines, analytical work, research work, it will be a good transit for you. There can be confusion regarding how to deal with competitions or problems in your life, but you will overcome it. You might go into self-doubt, self-criticism, or even too much into details that it might delay executing it. Ketu will also create confusion about health treatment and may encourage self-healing or healing through natural herbs or alternative medicines. Ketu will move 11 places away from its sign Scorpio and transit in Virgo. While past 18 months were about losses, now you will recover and gain from it. From here, Ketu will aspect the signs of Capricorn and Taurus. It shows insecurity, confusion, dissatisfaction, or detachment regarding these houses. Simple remedies you can do is to feed the animals, offer any of your service in spiritual religious places, and treat yourself with alternative medicines as much as possible. Remember, Ketu doesn't deny, it just makes you detach from superficial or temporary things, and that for Ketu includes material things as well. But in relationships, it separates you from fake relations, and only when feelings are genuine, it sustains. Okay? Ketu also gives children. Okay, Ketu may create difficulties, but once you detach from the results and understand the true essence of soul, it starts rewarding you. Virgo is responsible, practical, disciplined, detail-oriented, and critical. So Ketu and Virgo may make you careless, critical, analytical, and service-oriented. Okay. Now let's discuss the impact for each ascendant. You can watch this video from ascendant or moon sign, whichever resonates with you. If you do not know how to analyze transit based on placements, and I've put up the link, you can watch that video. Okay, let's start. Ketu will transit in your 6th house. A malefic in Upacha house is always welcome. You won't be much focused or bothered about your problems, diseases, or enemies, or you may distance yourself from it. This can also mean that you become careless towards it. Recovery of any chronic health issue can happen, but it may require a surgery, so health should be your priority. Routine will most likely be disturbed, so no use in planning and scheduling things. Any transformation will mostly benefit you, so don't be afraid of any change. You can suddenly gain through some competition or some debate. Not a time to confront your in-laws. If any legal battles, then they most likely shall win. There can be disagreements or arguments with maternal relatives. There can be confusion and you may not have a practical solution of your problem. Some of you may abruptly have to change their job. For those unemployed, you may be confused about the choice. Go what your heart chooses. Okay, rely on your intuition, rely on your instinct about which offer you should accept. Okay, a favorable time for people associated with research, analytical or alternative healing work. Ketu shall aspect your 2nd and 10th house. You can be critical of your family, anxious about finances, and careless or ignorant towards your career and reputation. Be watchful of your words and worried about your life. Okay. Ketu will transit in your 5th house. It represents love, creativity, children, speculative business, entertainment, leisure, and education. You may not care much about diving deep into whom you date and may not have a clarity or a practical choice of a partner. This can be disastrous in the long run. In romance, take it slow and feel it. If the gut says yes, go ahead. Okay, Ketu here encourages practical choice and also analyzing before you move ahead, okay, with love interest. This can also show being anxious of relationship or being disappointed, okay, because there can be some idealistic desires, okay, very perfectionist kind of choice of a partner which may not exist, okay, because we are not perfect, okay. So that can be there, and superficial relations will break, so be thankful of your breakup. If if there is a breakup, you can even meet someone spiritual or someone from your past. Students must be absolutely serious in their education if they don't want to regret later. Take your time to rest and enjoy. Say no to responsibilities you can't fulfill. Don't overburden yourself. Concentrate on one thing, one goal, take it slow. Health will recover. Don't be careless towards your children. You may feel creatively blocked. And yes, it's not a good time to conceive. Listen to your intuitive intelligence. A properly researched and analyzed stock investment may prove beneficial. Ketu shall aspect your 1st and 9th house. You can be self-critical, dissatisfied with yourself, and ignorant or irresponsible towards religion or higher studies. Okay. Ketu will transit in your 4th house. It represents home, comforts, luxuries, peace, happiness, mother, and emotions. Don't be careless in buying comforts, luxuries, or real estate. Take time to understand if you really need it or not, else you will be disappointed. This also shows you will be dissatisfied with home or at home, most likely depending on the placement. Relocation is possible. Read the documents carefully. Take care of your mother's health. There can be disagreements at home or with the mother. You won't be able to get peace of mind unless you do some spiritual activity. There can be emotional turmoil and lack of happiness. Most likely you will be detached or distant from home. Don't be careless in sharing your feelings or emotions without being considerate about the other person. And also make sure that that person is trustable. It might happen that other person may not take it lightly, okay, or may get offended or may not be reliable, okay. You may also be insecure about your feelings, so little chaotic time, but you will be able to cope with it if you calm your mind, okay. Ketu shall aspect your 12th and 8th house. So being too much into your past won't make your present any better. So there can be a lot of anxiety, confusion, fear of the unknown, fear of changes. You will have to leave everything to God and spend more time into religious activities. Okay. Ketu will transit in your third house. There can be a desperate urge to act or execute your ideas. But wait, hold on, it is Ketu, okay? So you might not think and just act. Okay, so think carefully before you take a leap of faith. Ensure your ideas or actions are practical. There can be disagreements with younger sibling or neighbors or limited interaction with them. Be careful of your communication. There are chances of misunderstanding. There can be confusion about your decisions and actions. Short journeys may not be satisfactory. When confused about choices, listen to your heart. Don't multitask, focus on one thing, one step at a time. Ketu shall aspect your 11th and 7th house, have practical desires. Be serious and dedicated towards your hopes and wishes. There can be anxiety and dissatisfaction regarding relationships and marriage. Focus on using your past skills and intelligence and be creative in your pursuits. Any analytical work in media or entertainment sector can prove beneficial. Okay. Ketu will transit in your second house. While being obsessed with money is not good, but money is essential for living. Ketu here will make it difficult for you to save money. Either you may spend what you earn or maybe detach and not be careless about it. Okay, there can be disagreements with the family. It is important to evaluate and analyze your resources. You may not be hesitant to do anything alone. Okay, like you may not care for if there is anybody to support you or anybody to come with you. Okay, you're fine alone. Okay, you will enjoy your solitude. There will be changes in your food habits and most likely some kind of restrictions will be there. You may not like the stability or being in comfort zone and may want to change your life. Okay, you will most likely spend on your comforts, luxuries, home and on mother. Be mindful of your expenses as you will go bankrupt if not careful. Okay, because here Ketu will make you detach from the idea of savings, which is very important. Okay, you may move away from your family, either physically distant or mentally detached. Okay, may not be able to spend more time with your family. Ketu shall aspect your 10th and 6th house. There can either be dissatisfaction with your career or you can be careless and have impractical desires. Don't be anxious of competitions or problems. Some of you can have a job change. Know everything before you decide to make a move regarding your career. Okay? Ketu will transit in your first house, your ascendant. You can be self-critical, self-doubtful and dissatisfied with yourself. You may feel confused and anxious about your life, whether what I am doing is right or will I succeed in it. Learning to let go of what doesn't work will be important. Without focusing on yourself, how can you keep expectations from others? Right? So you will have to understand yourself, reflect, introspect and discover yourself. It is important first to go inward and meet oneself before you meet your partner or others. Be real, be honest with yourself, know and accept the real you. Your efforts though will yield results, but it will be very slow. So be patient. Don't be careless towards your health. Make sure you are disciplined. There can be conflicting thoughts within you, like on one hand you want to do this, while on other you want to do that. So a lot of confusion will exist. Be practical and spiritual. You can also be vulnerable and can easily be manipulated by others during this time. Be yourself, show the true you. Ketu shall aspect your 9th and 5th house. Your faith will be tested. You will be detached or distant from your children. You will spend more time in religious practices. Traveling may be disappointing. Don't be careless towards your studies. Okay? Ketu will transit in your 12th house. Don't forget to listen to your own voice while focusing on winning competition, defeating enemies or problems. It's okay to prove yourself to the world, but don't lose yourself in the battle. You may be too busy to focus on yourself. There can be problems in foreign travels, settlement. You may not be able to sleep properly. You may be anxious and confused about your past and may not want to deal with the conclusion or the past itself. You don't want to think about what your intuition tells you because you may not like its answer. You may be focused far too much on the worldly affairs to focus on your rest, meditation, peace, and me time. Learning to accept the truth, letting go, or forgiving the mistakes and being more mindful shall prove beneficial. You may spend a lot on your family, so be careful of that. Ketu shall aspect your 8th and 4th house again. Deepest fears are supposed to be confronted and accepted first before you fight off with the outside world. You may be anxious about transformation in your life, about inheritance, and about your emotions. There can be dissatisfaction regarding home or mother. Okay. Ketu will transit in your 11th house. You may be detached or distant from your elder sibling. There can be dissatisfaction with elder sibling or friends. It is important to have practical desires. You will be dissatisfied with your current income and be disappointed about wish fulfillment. You may not like to interact with people much during this time, or there can be fewer social interactions. It can also be because you are anxious of networking and socializing. Be detached or use it for a good cause, and your income shall boost. You will have to let go of some opportunities or basically income, because there will be some inevitable expenses. Health is going to get much better. Ketu shall aspect your 7th and 3rd house. There can be dissatisfaction and disappointment in relationships, marriage, and even dealing with people. It is important to divert your focus and efforts on yourself rather than anything else. You will be confused and anxious about your actions. Okay. Ketu will transit in your 10th house. Career is definitely going to change. Your job is going to abruptly end. You will be forced to evaluate your career status and growth. Those involved in analytical or research field, they will have a favorable time. You will not like to be in public, as in most of the time you will want to spend time at home or alone. You may also be dissatisfied regarding your job and reputation in the society. You will not be bothered about your current work or may be careless at your work. Ketu will encourage endings in your career for work you don't enjoy or is not helping anyone. Also, your focus will not be on career during this period. Ketu shall aspect your 6th and 2nd house. There can be dissatisfaction with the family and anxiety about your problems and health issues. Okay. Ketu will transit in your 9th house. Don't be careless in pursuing your higher education. You can suddenly lose interest in upgrading yourself, like you may feel, I have learned enough and I'm done with studying now. You will not focus on learning because you will now be interested in executing your ideas. There can be dissatisfaction with the father or teachers or even bosses. You may not like to do religious activities or go on a pilgrimage during this time. There can be confusion about what to do and which subject to choose. There can also be a sudden change of travel plans which may be disappointing. Ketu shall aspect your 5th and 1st house. There can be insecurity about your appearance, dissatisfaction with your own self, and may feel really anxious of having to learn something. You can also be distracted, so be careful if you are a student. Relationships require efforts and introspection. Let go of the bonds that are not working out for you. Don't force love. Okay? Ketu will transit your 8th house. You're afraid of changes. It gives you anxiety. You may want stability and not uncertainty. But now you're forced to do something, forced to change something. Calm your mind and listen to that inner voice. Let it guide you. Ketu here encourages some me time. Spend time in self-discovery, reflection, research, and understand life. Okay, and understanding life. Know about yourself. You may also be disappointed regarding inheritance and trading, so avoid speculative work. There can be dissatisfaction with the in-laws. It is an excellent time for research and analytical work and even occult work. For those involved in astrology or tarot card or any such kind of work, it's very favorable time for you. These 18 months are going to remain stable with little to no major changes, or even if one occurs, it won't bother you. Ketu shall aspect your 4th and 12th house. There can be dissatisfaction with mother or disappointment with home. There can be some past regrets that make you sad. You will also be encouraged to let go of the past, emotional trauma, and also your house, and not be attached to expenses because it will happen. Okay? Ketu will transit in your 7th house. Different culture can become an obstacle in your marriage. Okay, like there can be issues about your partner or being of different culture. There can be abrupt endings of relationships. You may have to be matured and understand yourself, then decide what partner you seek. It is important to first be aware about the responsibility and adjustments you will have to make and then marry. Okay, focus is on yourself, and in the efforts to influence the world, you are ignoring other people's emotions. Be considerate. Fame should not take you away from reality, such that you become careless and when reality hits, you have lost everything in your arrogance and ignorance. Okay, so be grounded. However, you will be very courageous and have complete faith in yourself. You will be self-motivated during this time. Ketu shall aspect your 3rd and 11th house. There can be dissatisfaction with siblings and disappointment in income. You may also be anxious about your desires, whether they will be fulfilled or whether your efforts will succeed. You will have to let go of expectations associated with your actions. Just do your work and leave it to the universe. Okay? So yeah, that was it for today. You can watch about Rahu transit here. Until we meet next time, take care.